what's the biggest waste of money at a wedding?
Ooh.
It's a
I
hard
don't
one.
want any vendors to come after me for this specifically.
It's a personal opinion.
Hey everyone, welcome to the FSL Vendor Podcast. This is a space where wedding vendors, creatives, and event pros come together to talk about the real side of the wedding industry. We are on a mission to create memories that last a lifetime, and we're bringing the people behind those memories right here to the table. Welcome back to the FSL Vendor Podcast. Today we are here with Sarah Sekaly Photography. And we're just going to go a little bit behind the scenes, talk about tips, tricks, advice, and everything beyond the wedding day. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
How's your day, Sarah?
It's going well. It's going well. How are you guys?
Good.
I'm
I
good.
feel like it's been a fun day so far. I've been chatting with Sarah for at least an hour.
Yeah.
But first, I always like to jump in and just know a little bit more of like what got you into photography and what got you into the wedding scene. Elaborate.
Yes. So I am one of the many photographers that did not start out going to like college or anything or studying photography. It was very much just a side hobby. And when I was pregnant with my daughter 10 years ago, I was looking for something to just kind of fill my time. I was super sick when I was pregnant, so I was not having a very fun pregnancy. And yeah, so I just kind of started doing photography on the side. I would post online and say, hey, pay me $20 and I'll show up and photograph your family. And then after that, I started, I just got hired to do a backyard wedding. It was literally just the smallest affair. And then they kind of recommended me to someone who recommended me to someone. And then I just randomly became a wedding photographer. It was very funny. I tell everyone this story. It's very funny because a couple of years ago, 10 years ago, we were sitting out with our friends and they were like, oh, so you're a wedding photographer. And I was like, no, I've seen TV shows, right? Where like, it's just an absolute disaster. And I was like, that can't be me. I was like, I can't do that. And then, we were like 60 weddings in and they were like, so you're a wedding photographer. And I was like, we got there. Don't know how we did, but we did. So I started doing weddings, and then I also have been doing like weddings and then pretty much everything after. So I do family sessions, maternity sessions, people adopt dogs, they buy houses, all the fun stuff. So I'm part of all of that. And then, been doing it for 10 years, going on 11.
That's awesome.
A decade.
Yes.
Nice, going on 11. So when you say we, is there more than just you? Like what all you got behind the scenes?
Me and my
working?
multiple personalities. No.
Okay.
But no, it is just me. I do have second shooters, of course, that come to the weddings, but no, I do all the email correspondence. I do all of the posting or lack of posting on social media. I do all the client interactions, all that stuff. So,
I didn't know if you roped your husband into also help.
Financially, yes. It's perfect because he works in finance. So I'm like, please take all
Okay,
of
so he just does all the bookkeeping and counting, and you're like,
he does.
yes.
Yeah. No, he definitely
I'm jealous.
He does photography, but it's not nearly as extensive, and he doesn't like doing people stuff. So he used to help me a lot in the beginning, and now it's just like he's like, you got it, and I'm like, all right, sounds good. So
as a general thought, I guess, what is the dynamic between you and a second shooter, and is it the same person every time? Because I feel like that's something that like even I'm a little curious about. So I'm sure like other wedding brides. I'm curious as well.
No, so it is different photographer to photographer. So a lot of photographers that I don't personally know, but just posting online, it is obvious that they use the exact same person every single time because that's like their partner. Whereas for me, I have about 5 people that I rotate through, just depending on who's available and what's happening. So I do use the same people every time just because I know my strengths and weaknesses on the wedding day. And I really need someone to also know my weaknesses on the wedding day. And so for me, I really want someone that like I have a personal relationship with, I know really well. Obviously during like COVID and stuff, we were all scrambling and people were getting sick left and right, and we had to find replacements online, and it was kind of crazy. So it really just depends. Me personally, I do use the same people, usually the same 2 to 3 people, and then the other ones are just there if I need, really need some backup help. But yeah, that's how it works for me. I know other photographers though that they completely find people randomly every time where they're just like,
Yeah.
hey.
I feel like that'd be stressful.
Yeah, I mean, for them, and everyone kind of deals with the stress differently, because I'm like, you need to show up on time. You need to be doing this. Like, I have anxiety for my brides where it's like, hey, like, I want this to be a good experience for you. And then I meet other photographers that are like, my second shooter canceled last minute and we're just going to go with the flow. And I'm like, you're going to what? So it really just depends. It depends on the person. It depends on the personality. And some people, when they're hiring photographers, they know the kind of photographer they're hiring. So like some people do want the laid back photographer that's not going to really worry about anything, that's kind of loosey goosey, and everything that happens, they're okay with it. And that's not necessarily me. I'm a nice little mix, but yeah.
So are weddings always a 2-shooter for you?
Yes, everything except elopements. So
Yeah, it was small. Okay.
Usually anything that's less than like 30 people, I'll tell them like, hey, I can do it. Clients can request to not have the second shooter. However, I'm always like, it's just nice to have. Like there are things that happen on the wedding day that I just cannot be two places. And so some clients, budget concerns or anything like that, they're like, do I need a second shooter? Not necessarily. If you hire a really good photographer, I could theoretically photograph every single wedding by myself. But there would be moments that would be missed, and there'd be a lot more waiting around. There'd be a lot more like, hey, I have to go see the bride now. I'll be right back. And I
didn't really think about that, because I guess like cocktail hour, you're getting pulled in direction to direction
Yep.
with photos, and now it's like if you have someone in cocktail hour, you actually get
Yes.
cocktail hour photos.
And it's not just like pulling in different directions. Everyone's talking to me. Like it's not just the bride and groom. It's family talking to me. Coordinators are talking to me. Everyone's like having a conversation with me while I'm doing some of the most, main parts of the day. And so it's really nice for the, the bride, she needs a drink of water. Hey, can you go get her a drink of water really quick? Or hey, can you go do cocktail hour photos or something like that? So it's really nice to have an extra set of hands, period. And it's nice that those hands have a camera. But, but like it's nice to be like, hey, can you please help me with this?
That kind of brings me into the question I've been wanting to ask, because you're the first photographer we had on this. When I look at the vendors at a wedding, at least the day of time commitment is always the longest from a photographer, 9 times out of 10, starting early morning and going the whole entire night. So from an energy management perspective, how do you, and I would say a coordinator is also right there, but they're not lugging around a heavy camera constantly the whole entire day to some degree, but they're also doing crazy stuff all day. So, but what's kind of any tips, tricks, or things that you do to manage energy throughout the day to make sure that you could actually make it all the way to the end of the day without dying, especially on some of those hot North Carolina days.
August outdoor, it'll get you.
Yeah, literally. I mean, there's some weddings that we do that are fully and completely outdoors, and you're like, what are we doing, guys? But no, it's a lot of it is personality based. So I have a very large background in just like customer service and making sure that everyone is happy, and kind of not customer is always right, but just like being like, hey, this is important to you, so it's just as important to me, even though it's not my wedding day and it's not my moment. And so for me personally, I think a lot of it, because you do meet photographers in the beginning, and you're like, hey, so do you want to try wedding photography? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then I've had second shooters or assistants that are like, this is not for me. Because it is so, not just physically exhausting, it is so emotionally exhausting, because you are managing everyone's emotions. You're managing the bride, who's obviously the most important, and the groom to an extent. But then you're also managing the mother of the bride and the mother of the groom and the bridesmaid who's a little bit type A, and so like you're managing a lot of different things mentally as well, that maybe I might manage a little bit too much, but it's also just to make sure that like the bride has a really good day and the bride is the least stressed. So for me, it's sometimes just like sheer will that I make it to the end. But all the typical things that you see online or from other photographers, like we bring snacks and we have water and we have, stuff like that. We do take very little breaks, but a lot of it's adrenaline. Like everything up until the reception starts. The reception, we all kind of crash a little bit, I think, because we're like, okay, like
we made it.
Yes, like our hard part of the day is done. Anything that happens at this point, we're just vibing. We're just having a good time. But up until that point, you're just like, okay, we have to do this, and then we have to do this. Not the same experience for the second shooters. Second shooters have like the best job of the day because no one remembers their name, no one remembers anything about them, but they like have really fun. They have a lot of fun with them. So
they're also normally with the groomsmen, which we have a lot of fun.
Yes, yeah, it's a lot more relaxed with the groomsmen, and so there's a lot less of them So just like, hey, you just guys gotta get your shots and you gotta get some details. And where I'm doing like timeline management, I'm making sure that everyone's staying on schedule. Oh, a button came loose. Let me get my sewing kit. Again, just making sure that everyone is just able to breathe, everyone's able to take a moment. And if the bride's getting overwhelmed, everyone needs to get out. It's my job to be like, hey guys, we're gonna exit for a few minutes, give the bride a moment. So it's, again, I think a lot of it is adrenaline, but a lot of it is personality, where you're like, it's going to be chaotic and it's going to be crazy, but that's okay. It's like, we're going to embrace it and it's going to be a really good day. So it's just.
So the day after is where the crash hits?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I was about to say, it's for us. Like the next morning, if I don't have another wedding, I'm like, I'm sleeping in until noon.
So I don't know if you guys call it, we call it wedding hangovers.
Oh yeah.
That's a good term for it.
Yes, we call it that all the time, all photographers and stuff, because it literally feels like you're hungover without doing anything the day before, because you are just it's like your body is beat. Like it's just, so sometimes I do like double and triple wedding weekends. And when I get to that third wedding on that weekend, I'm like, oh no, this is a disaster. Like, cause you're just so exhausted.
You're so right on the adrenaline though. Cause if I have one wedding this weekend and I'm dead the next day, but if I have two weddings, I wake up early. I might go to bed at 2 a.m. and I wake up at 7 a.m. and do last minute prep, and the adrenaline's flowing. I'm excited. The caffeine's going.
Yep.
But once you hit that,
it's like a double crash.
Yeah. No, it's very much like hitting a wall. It happens to me on the car ride home a whole lot, where I ride in silence, right? Like you're like.
The best.
Like, you listen to music all day, and now it's
and a lot of times if I'm especially having like a particularly hard day, just for whatever reason, I always tell myself at the beginning, I'm like, hey, it's 10 hours, and then you'll be in the car again, and it'll be silent, and it'll be done, and there won't be that stress, and so no, it's a hard crash the next day. Like it's everyone's like, are you okay? And I'm like.
With your like wedding hangover, I know a lot of photographers, and I think I saw on your website too, you do like 24 to 48 hour edits. Like how is that process when having to deal with like the energy crash from the night before?
That varies a lot from photographer to photographer. Several of my second shooters don't guarantee the 24 to 48 hour turnaround. I only do that, and I think I saw this from another like really big creative photographer, and I think she tries to do it like the same night, which I am not even. I'm pretty sure she does it like at the wedding, but I'm not capable of doing that. But for me, I do want the client experience for me is the most important part of the day, besides the fact that we are professional photographers taking professional photos. And so them getting the photos back the next day or the next 2 days is kind of like, that is where the most excitement comes in, because if you are waiting for sneak peeks for maybe a week, 2 weeks, maybe even longer, all the memory of the day has already kind of faded a little bit. And so maybe they're still excited, and maybe they're still, oh my gosh, these are gorgeous photos, but it's just not as real as like, the night or the morning after the wedding, or, again, a couple days after. So for me, I do it where we get home, I upload all the photos. I do use culling processes and stuff. So I do cull my own photos, but I have like a process that goes through after shoot.
What is that?
Yeah, what is culling?
Culling. So on a typical wedding day, I might take 4,000 photos.
Yep.
And of course, you don't want 4,000 photos. I don't want to edit 4,000 photos. And so I'm going to, make that number smaller by getting rid of any like duplicates, blinking, anything that's just like an unsavory photo. I also have to look at the background of the photos and stuff to see if someone is doing something in the background that maybe we don't want to see either. And it also depends on the client. Like some clients are like, I want the terrible photos. Like I want the ones where like my mom is making the craziest face, and that's cool too. But for the most part, we want all the photos to kind of be aesthetically pleasing and like all that stuff. So we kind of get it down to a number more manageable for us and for the client, because sometimes even if I do deliver a high number of photos, they're like, this is a lot. And I'm like, yeah, it can be a lot. So we do the culling I do the culling process, and then I do put it in Aftershoot, which is like an editing program, and that kind of helps with the editing process a little bit. You still have to go through each individual one and tweak it how you want to, but that is how, for years I didn't do that. So for years it really was just me doing it like bit by bit by bit, and I just had no life. I just had the whole next day I was spending 6 to 7 hours on the sneak peeks, because I had to go through all the photos, cull all the photos, then pick out 40 of my favorite ones, you know, and that's a lot, especially if you're going through 1,000+ photos. So, and then you have to like tweak every single one. So I've kind of used, you know, the editing process to make it a little bit faster for me and for the clients, so that I spend 2 hours doing the sneak peeks instead of half the day the next day, you know, trying to manage that.
For those sneak peek moments, what moment, like, are you looking for key moments to pull for a sneak peek, or are you look just what looks the best, or like?
Yeah, it's a mixture. So there are, for me, and again, it varies photographer to photographer, because I know some photographers that they only deliver a couple photos during the sneak peek, and they're like, forget about the rest of the day. Like, this is what you look like, you know, which is honestly what most couples want to see. They want to see what they look like. I do try to include others that are like I do family photos. We do a little bit of the getting ready photos. I go back on the day just in my mind of moments that I knew was a really good moment. So just like a good memory, even if like maybe that photo isn't like the highest priority photo. Yeah. It's just like, oh my gosh, do you remember grandma dancing on the dance floor? Let me get that one in there so they can see it immediately, you know, and they can kind of, you know, relive that moment as well. So yeah, it really just depends. We do quite a few. So my sneak peeks are usually between 60 and 80 photos. From a typical like 10-hour, 8-hour wedding day. And I include a healthy amount, 20 or so of the couple photos, and then I do a couple of family photos, just like 2 or 3, especially around the holidays, because people want to go ahead and get those on their Christmas cards. Yeah. So I do that, and then we also do detail shots. For the venue and the other vendors. I do try to include at least one detail shot for every vendor. So like if someone did the cake, I want to make sure I have the cake in there. If someone, you know, did the florals really beautifully, I want to make sure I have a couple of those in there. So it's a healthy mix of, for the bride and groom or whoever, to be able to kind of get a good semblance of like what happened that day. So it's a large range of like, I want you guys to have a taste of everything. I want you to see like what it was like at the reception, what it was like at the ceremony, what it was like, you know, at the beginning of the day. I want you guys to kind of get a taste of like, this is what all the photos are going to look like, rather than all the photos being outside in the sunshine at sunset and like, oh yeah, those ones are gorgeous and beautiful, but like you have no idea what the reception photographed like or what the ceremony photographed like. So I try to keep lots of different people in mind when I'm doing the sneak peeks. The couple photos are usually my favorite photos, or they're a photo that I showed the client on the day and they're like, ooh, I love that one. Not all photographers do that because they don't like showing the raw, but I like to check in with clients and be like, what do you think? And they're like, oh, I love it. Or if they're like, you know what, I think we're going to photograph my other side. That's good to know in that moment so that we can just go ahead and switch right then and there. So
I feel like that's almost, it's a part of the process of like, you know, help. I don't even know. It's like giving them little bits of it. You talk about like, you know, people buy emotionally and then they judge it logically. So if you're showing them little bits throughout the day, they're getting that little bit of logic that justifies why they hired you. Versus if you just were almost like a ghost photographing the whole time, and then after there's like, oh yeah, we had a photographer.
Yeah, no, it also builds a little bit of confidence as well, because you know, some of the poses that we do, a lot of mine are goofy and silly and fun, but then sometimes I'm like, we're gonna do this really specific pose and it's gonna feel weird, but it's going to look amazing, I promise.
I remember a couple of those at my wedding. I was like, why are we doing
this one? And
Trust me.
It's uncomfortable. And then I show them like, holy crap, we're so happy we trusted you, because that was a really good photo. So no, it's one of those situations where for me, I want the client to feel comfortable. So like that, I want them to know that I know what I'm doing, first of all, even though they've seen my portfolio, they know who I am. I still want them to be like, okay, all right, this is working. This is exactly what I wanted to do or what I wanted to see. So, and I love it when clients are like, these aren't even edited. Are you kidding? You know, they're already this good. So that also gives me a confidence boost as well. I mean, the photographer feeling confident in their work on the wedding day is probably the biggest outcome of your photos. When I am not feeling super confident about what I'm doing, or if I'm getting critiqued by the client a whole lot, where they're like, oh, I don't want to do that, or oh, I don't want to, you know, that kind of throws me off my game a little bit, because then I'm like, okay, they don't want to do this and this and this. Now I'm thinking of that, and I'm not thinking of being creative or being fun. And so the more creative and fun I can be, and the more open the clients are to things, the more the photos are going to turn out versatile, and they're going to be relaxed and fun.
It's funny how similar the creativity is on the DJ side too. Like when we start, like, you know, we do all the prep, we talk to them about all the things, and when we start just doing our thing creativity wise, if that couple is one of those weird couples that is like, hey yo, and they're constantly bugging, it really throws you off your groove, and you're like thrown off, like I was already going to do that to some degree. So it's almost like something we look for now when we're talking to couples about like, are you going to allow for creativity and freedom? Because if you're not, we're not a playlist.
Yeah.
We're not a Spotify. There's other companies that do that for a cheaper amount and stuff like that. If you want to just experience the experience and allow the creativity, that's where you come to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it's like, again, it's like a mental game where you're having a good time, and then I can only imagine the amount of times I've had clients go up to the DJ during the reception. They're like, "Hey, not that one," and you're like, "Oh, okay," or whatever, and they're like, "Do that again."
If they do, that's better. Like they're like when they're like hyping you up and everything, that's great because we feed off of energy when we're crowd reading and stuff. And it's actually what's made it harder now with the younger generations is they don't give back as much.
Yes.
So we've been loving, a lot of us talk about like we don't want to do much more of the school dances. We're just going to stick to the wedding scene because it's all the 20 and 30. Yeah. So, but it's so crucial as a DJ, especially in live DJing, to have that feedback loop to be able to know and vibe and get into a zone and get into your
a flow.
Flow state. Get to your flow state.
Yes. Yeah. And like you can always tell with the DJ, like at the wedding, you're like, "Oh, this is good." Like,
We're in flow
like
state.
you can feel like how they feel about it just by the energy that they're bringing to the room.
Yeah.
So,
My assistant always knows beside me, like afterwards, he's like, "Dude, you were struggling for a minute there." Like I was like, it was challenging, like what we were dealing with.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Tried a genre in a way, it didn't work, had to get back out of it.
No, it happens a lot for family photos. So family photos, I have a list and I have a flow. And then Uncle Richie went to the bathroom and Cousin Cody went to go find him. And now I have to do it out of order.
Wrangling.
And everyone's like, "Come on. Where do you do it?" And I'm like, I have to rearrange my brain right now, because I had this whole plan and now the plan is out the window. And so it interrupts the flow of like what was going to happen. This was going to be a 15-minute process and now we're here for 25 minutes and everyone's upset, know?
Yeah, that's just in general for weddings.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to change or the wedding industry is not for you. You come in with a plan and the plan goes out the window as soon as the wedding starts.
Do you ever, I'm sure you do, talk to vendors that are like, "I'm super type A, so that's why I'm in the wedding industry." And I'm like, that's actually not a good thing because you're going to be frustrated that things are going out the window constantly. You
can be type A, but you have to be a flexible type A.
Yes.
Because type A, having the more planning, the better.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Initially. The most planning we can have with also maybe option B, C, D or whatnot. But as long as you're willing to easily and not get over emotional about like plan A didn't work, we got to go plan B. Like as long as you're willing to work with that. Then we're fine.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of it is planners, right? Like those coordinators and planners, those are the people that are like, "Hey, I'm really organized and that's why I'm in this business." And
it's great.
It's fantastic. Like I love an organized, that's what we want. That's what your name is.
I honestly don't like the laid back one that gives me like the very high level timeline. I'm like that. I need more detail here.
Yes. And so I'm like, yes, you need to do, but I also appreciate vendors in general, any vendors that allow each vendor to do their own job, right? Like to not, overstep
micromanage
so much that it's making my job difficult or your job difficult or any of those things. So yeah, that's a big priority for me on the wedding day. Is like, we are all here, we are all professionals. If you need my help, I'm happy to help, but I don't need you to stand over there and be like, "Oh, you should do this now." Like, no, that's okay. Like if the client wants that, that's totally fine. But otherwise, let me kind of do my part of it. You do your part of it. It'll be great. It'll be fun.
From a DJ perspective, I feel like it's kind of harder to like work with the client before the wedding as far as like DJ experience goes. You can always meet with them, but do you like require to photograph with them before the wedding, like an engagement session before to fill out the vibe, or like what's your vetting process, I guess?
Yeah, so for my clients, this is all post-COVID. So pre-COVID, I think everyone did things differently.
Oh, everyone did.
And now we're all like, okay, this is what we're doing now. So post-COVID, I always do a Zoom call with clients.
Yeah.
If I know them well, like they are, previous clients of mine or whatever, I won't require it. I'll still be like, "Hey, we still want to get on there and talk about the wedding though, because there's a lot of details that we need to discuss." But I always want to put a face to the name. I always want to get a feel for them. And more importantly, I want them to get a feel for me. I want them to know how I speak, how I move, how I talk, what my personality is like, because the photographer is around you more than anyone else on the wedding day. More than your wedding party, more than your spouse, more than anybody, the planner, more than anybody, the photographer photographer is constantly there. And the last thing I want is for, you to meet me for the very first time and be like, wow, your voice is not my favorite on my most favorite day, or whatever the situation might be. Again, my personality or anything like that. I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. You actually talked about this earlier. Like, there's others that can do what you want, you know, and that's how I feel about things. Where I'm like, hey,
every vendor's not a one
Absolutely.
size fits all.
Yeah, one size fits all.
That's
doesn't
why
exist.
there's a list of vendors
Yes,
at every
that's why
venue
there
planner.
Yes, that's why everyone has different styles for everything, so that you can choose what style fits you best. So I always make sure I do a Zoom call with clients. I want to make sure that they're comfortable with me. I want to make sure I'm comfortable with them. It doesn't happen a lot, but I definitely do, meet some people that I'm like, hey, you will not like me. Like this is not, I know you feel like it's going to be good, but it won't be good because of my personality or my style, or even the mention of like, oh, I really like this one photo. And it's like, that's good, but you do need to like more than one, and so it is a vetting process both ways, where I want them to know me and like me and all the things, but I also want to make sure that I'm a good fit for them, because
100%.
a lot of times this is the first time they're getting married and they don't know what's a good, as much as some of them really do know, a lot of them don't. A lot of them don't understand that, like, hey, you do actually need to kind of like your photographer, because I have heard so many horror stories about people being like, oh, the photos were great. Photographer, not that great. They were yelling or they were doing whatever, and you're just like, okay, that wasn't a good photographer for you, like and that is something that obviously they didn't know in the moment. So I always do the Zoom call, and then I don't require an engagement session. I definitely encourage it, even if they've had one. Because it is more for them than for me, so that they can see what they look like through my lens. Even though they've been photographed before, they haven't been photographed by me. And so I want them to really kind of get a feel of like what's going to happen on the wedding day, how I'm going to have them move, how I'm going to have them talk to each other, talk to me, like everything about it is basically just like a prep for the wedding day, and making sure that they are prepared for what's about to happen. Now, it's not required. There are plenty of clients that I meet, and we get to the wedding day, and I'm like, hey, so let me give you a rundown of how this is going to work. Some of it's going to be weird. Some of it's going to be awkward. Some of it's going to be really fun. Just keep an open mind, and it'll be good. And again, because we've had that initial phone call, the clients are already like comfortable enough, and then I just try to get them immediately comfortable, where it's like, all right, we're going to do some weird stuff. Let's go. And
So it's just tailoring and also going back a little bit on energy. As just a single photographer, you're not a multi-op. Do you limit how many weddings you take on in a year?
Yeah, so
Or do you have any rules of like I personally have a rule that I will only do 3 weekends in a row before I need a weekend off.
Interesting. Okay.
So that's my rule with them when booking me.
That's a rule I've never even heard of someone having. So that's a really good rule.
So I don't limit
rules too.
I don't limit the amount I take in a year.
Right.
I limit certain holiday
Like
weekends that I want, or anniversaries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't want more than 3 consecutive weekends. Now, those 3 consecutive weekends, you can put 3, 3, 3, and we'll do 9 in a row right there. But I need a weekend off.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's a really good rule. I might try that one.
I'm gonna try that one.
I feel like I talk to my friends a lot of the time, and they're like, "When's your next weekend off?" And I'm like, "November." I'm like, "What do you mean?"
It allows me to be able to have 1 weekend a month to have a life with friends.
Yeah. No, I think for me, so one of my main rules is just making sure that I am actually mentally good for that time period. So like when it's April, and like I know April's already crazy, I am not going to force myself to take on one more wedding, even though it's going to be a good one. And I really do have to do like a mental health check, where it's like you will be sobbing by that wedding, because it will just be too much. I do have a limit. Do I ever say that limit? Probably not. According to my husband.
No, we don't.
I do have a limit. So mine is actually a lot higher than other photographers that I think. Mine is usually 30 that I do a max of. Last year was the first year of my entire business that I did 30.
Nice.
So
Congrats.
that was, the other times have been much more than that. So I usually, before that.
So you're cutting back right now,
I'm
which is
cutting
good.
back,
Yes, it feels great, I guarantee.
I'm trying to curate more to my clients, where like when they need me, and I'm not trying to be necessarily like a luxury photographer or anything like that, but I am trying to be more flexible in that, like, I do have these dates available for your engagement session. That's sooner than, a couple months from now. And I do have, bridal sessions available and stuff like that where I can help them a little bit more in the process. So I do try to limit it. I think last year I literally did like 29 full weddings, and then I did one elopement, and that was my limit. My husband would love for me to cut back more because he sees what everyone doesn't see, right? The hours of editing and the days of not sleeping and all this stuff. So he's like, you really do need to cut back. I think we made this rule about 5 years ago where I should not take on triples anymore, because triples really are rough.
Yeah, they are rough.
They're really rough. Doubles is like, okay, but like I can get through 2 days, and then you get to the third one, you're like, man, like you start the day like.
I've only done a handful of triples ever in my career, and I don't really care to want to ever have that again.
Yeah. So I do try to avoid those. I think I do have a triple this year, but it's just one. I used to have multiple triples, like where it would be like 2 weekends in a row where I do triple weddings, or I'll do a Friday, Saturday, not have one on Sunday, do one on Monday.
Yeah.
So like it's like not technically a triple, but kind of.
And I think a lot of those double, triple headers, a lot of it, and we started to do it aggressively, is look at travel distances between locations.
Oh, 100%.
Because if we're traveling 4 hours, 3 hours, it's not going to work.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to kill them. So like we look at travel distances, and if it's over 3 hours, we don't allow them to be booked on one side or the other.
Yeah, you just block it off on the other side.
And if it's 4 or 5 hours or a destination wedding, like either side is a day, and it's not happening.
I guess you guys don't have as much of experience with this because, again, I don't know how much you talk to clients before, but I also base it on the client as well. So if I know that I have a client that is going to be a little bit just have higher expectations of me of that day,
Need more energy.
I am not going to book it on each end there because I know that client has higher expectations, and I'm going to give it my all on that day. Not that I don't always give it my all, but the ones that are like, hey, we have this and this and this, and it's just going to be a lot for me. I make sure that I'm like, and tomorrow I'm going to sleep because I need that moment. So yeah. But I guess like you guys probably don't have as much of a luxury with that because you only know them to an extent. So
some of them, like we have one meeting with Mariana tonight that is in 2029.
Well, it depends on the client, and it depends on the wedding. It depends on their vision. Like I'm doing a destination wedding in Michigan at the end of the month here. I've had 4 meetings now with them, and I know the client. He's also a DJ in the industry. He's going to have way higher expectations than me. I know a lot more about the details of what they're looking for, what they're trusting for. So it depends on the client, 100%. But yeah, the more you get into the upper luxury market, the more meetings and the more they want to learn and know you and know your vendors. So you walk in, you high five, you know them inside out. And honestly, I love it more than the weddings that I don't have that connection with or whatnot.
Nope. The person that you see at the wedding, or persons, and they're almost like a little life raft a little bit, and like the drowning sea of all the people that you don't know and all the things you don't know. And
I'm sure you've got to this too now at this point, but I got like there's some couples that I have lined up every year that they're part of that bridesmaid groomsmen group that I've done like 7 weddings with them. So you show up and you're like, what's up?
Yes.
I know all of you. I know all of you.
Yes.
I'm like, man, how do I make my set way more unique and different?
Right.
Oh, I got some new edits and stuff I want to try out that I didn't do at your wedding. And
no, and then they like compare notes. And they're like, he did that at your wedding, and you're like, no.
I guarantee they do too.
No, it's funny you say that because I do talk to 2 of my best friends are my previous wedding clients. So I don't befriend all of them, but when you're in this industry, that's the only friends you have.
We have one too. I DJ'd their wedding back in like 2021, and they're very close friends now at this point. So.
Yeah, no, so the first girl that I did, I think her wedding was 2018. She's going to kill me if she sees this, and I got that wrong. But, and then the second one was actually 2020, and we became really good friends after that. And it's kind of awkward because I wasn't a bad photographer in 2020. I wasn't a bad photographer in 2018, but I am so much better. And so it's like, look at this amazing gallery, and I'll send it to them, and they're like, yeah, amazing. amazing.
Wow.
And they still love their wedding photos. They still are like, it's amazing. But it's very funny where I'm like, no, I grow and change and develop, and I get better, and I have better equipment, and I make more money, and all of the things. And so like naturally the photos are just going to get better.
Yeah.
And so it's very funny that like my two best friends, like they're like, our photos were great, and then they're like, but not like that.
That's
great.
Honestly, it would be bad of us to we go into a new client this time and then they say that, well, you were better at the last wedding. It's like, oh, I must not be growing. I must not be better.
Oh yeah.
Our assistants at our events, like we'll go do a rager event or something like that, like wedding off the charts, whatnot, and then they'll be like, so what was the top wedding you've ever DJ'd or whatnot? I'm like, honestly, it's a new one every year because I'm better at mixing, better at edit, like everything gets better every single year. So if I had the skill set I had now, there's probably a crowd back in the day that would have been even more over the top, but it's every year there's a new one.
Yeah. No,
it sets a new standard.
Yes,
and keeps you going.
Like, that's a good thing. Like it's not.
Keeps you hungry.
I'm not going backwards.
Yeah.
I do a lot of sibling weddings, where not the siblings getting married.
Yes. I'm still waiting on the fourth daughter of this dad right now.
Yes.
I've done 3 of his daughters now. He's still. He's like, you're doing every one of them.
Anytime that happens, they're like, you are just draining my wallet. I'm like, yes, hello. But no, I do a lot of them, and it is very interesting to see even the same people that I'm photographing. And I'm like, okay, she was the maid of honor at this wedding, and now she's the bride. And it's like, look how different she looks. She doesn't look that different, but like in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, my photography is so different from what I was, 4 or 5 years ago when I did her sister's wedding. And so it's really cool to kind of see that development as well. I do, of course, get the conversation where prices change over the years, and they're like, well, when they paid, it was $500 less or whatever. And I'm like, and I was
3 years ago.
And milk and eggs 3 years ago was also. So actually,
there's
if we do
called inflation. And
have you seen the gas prices?
I always do the comparison. I'm like, it's not ever with clients, but it's like people out and they're like, wow, you can charge that now? I'm like, well, if we do the ratio of what milk and eggs cost then versus now, and we do that same factor to our price, I should really be charging this.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm not.
And
So
I'm not
you're
doing
welcome.
that. Yes.
So you're welcome.
Nope. That's charging. Just making up your own prices in general are a difficult topic for me personally that I've always struggled with, just because I know some photographers that I know well that are like, raise it, like no problem. If they pay it, why don't you raise it, right? And I actually do have like a moral, quarrel with myself where it's like, yes, if they pay it, I should charge as much as I could possibly charge, but like, I don't feel great about that. That's not something that like I really like kind of shoot towards or I'm very passionate about. Like I want everyone to have good photos. Like I don't want just, the highest of the high, the most luxurious people to get the really good wedding photos. Like I want the people that are like, yeah, we've been saving for several years and we also want, really good wedding photos too. So pricing yourself has been probably the most difficult thing for me as a business owner. Partly because I think imposter syndrome, which we all go through, but also because I want people to like not feel like they just could not possibly have a wedding because, we are all so astronomically priced, because the wedding tax is a real thing, right? Like
It's
you put
insane.
wedding on anything and all of a sudden
Prices
it goes
change.
up, by 300%. So,
Yes.
So I acknowledge that,
And-
but also knowing that, I need milk and eggs too, like,
And
Milk
it's,
and eggs.
and the wedding tax, some things, I think the wedding tax is a little too steep and aggressive for certain things. For stuff like us, when we just talked about the time commitment, the amount of time we're spending with the clients or how long it takes versus a smaller elopement shoot, or you're going in the backyard, or if I go to a school dance, I have like no client meetings with at all, period. And it's normally a 3-hour commitment to DJ for these kids. Now they're very annoying, but
They're very annoying.
mostly on the song
That's the
request
All
side.
you hear is like Bad Bunny.
But certain things like wedding cakes and stuff. Like it's a cake. It's the same as a birthday cake. I don't
it's
know.
the same as a
Now they're gonna say that you gotta deal with more and delivery. Yeah, then charge for that. But some
and again,
some things are a little aggressive.
someone's gonna pay it, So if that's the price that you're charging,
That's such a thing in this industry where like the certain big Saturdays of the year, almost any vendor can throw out whatever price they want. You're probably gonna get booked by someone.
Yes. Oh yeah. No, it's I know some photographers, so I am one of the few photographers I know that put their prices on their website.
Yeah, I saw that, and I like that.
Yes, that's mostly because I just do not like going anywhere and not knowing at least a starting point, which a lot of photographers do a starting point. But for me, I'm just like, listen, this is what I charge, guys. Like,
every vendor should have their
a
starting
starting
rate.
point on there.
We have our
some
starting
of them are
rates.
just like, inquire. And I'm like, I don't want to, what if it's then we've wasted everyone's time, So, I am one of the few that I do the whole breakdown. That way we do it. We don't have questions. Like you know what I offer, you know what I do. But I do know some photographers that they do change their rate based on what's
demand
happening.
rates.
Yeah. So, that's why they don't. Each client might get a slightly different guide depending on what the date is and how popular the date is and what they have going on. I mean, I charge more for holiday weddings because
I was about to say
Same,
the only
totally.
thing we charge more for is the holidays.
Yes, yeah, and most holidays I don't even do anyway. Like I'd much rather just not do that.
I think only maybe 2 times ever someone's been like, "Yeah, I'll pay the holiday rate," and it's like, okay, well, it's worth my time.
Yeah,
It's worth my
I mean,
time.
they are also like, I don't know if clients even realize this. Like when you sign up for a holiday wedding, all of your vendors are going to be
Way more
a
expensive.
little bit more, like because you are paying for a very exclusive time in their lives. Now, not everybody probably, but like for me, like this is I've never done a Christmas wedding, but like if I did a Christmas
they
wedding,
exist.
yes,
It's very popular, especially with big families, because it just makes more sense
Everyone's
to get
in
everybody together.
town, and
But
that's
it's
the
like-
argument that I hear all the time with holiday weddings. Is they're like, everyone's here for Thanksgiving. Why wouldn't we do a wedding this Saturday after Thanksgiving? And I'm like, because other people have family too. Like other people like their family and want to be around them, and so it's something that is definitely a consideration, especially the bigger holidays, New Year's Eve. That's a big wedding one. Like, we all celebrate together till 2:00 in the morning. It's like, I would love to be in bed at 12:01. So you're paying that extra for me not to be in bed at 12 o'clock, So
Do you have a hard cutoff? Some photographers have like, I'm leaving at 9, period.
No. I have done until 2 in the morning several times.
That's a long day.
It's a long day. I've done I think 3 New Year's Eve weddings, and all of them. Well, one of them didn't. One of them ended like right after 12, but then the other 2 were at 2 in the morning. And then I did a wedding that was so unexpected. It was a super small wedding, and there was about 60 people there, and they're like, "We're going till 2," and I was like, "No, you're not, guys. No, you're not." I was like, "That's impossible." I was like, "There's no way that you're going till 2." They're like, every single person is, and they were both European, and so the weddings work a little bit different. And they were like, "We party." They were like, "We party, and we're gonna go."
And did
so
they?
They went till 2
Okay.
a.m.
They went.
And I was there for it. No, most of the time my cutoff just naturally is 10 p.m. just because that's when most weddings end.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we all feel this way, that when anytime it's after 10 p.m. we're like, oh my gosh,
100%.
this is the longest hour or 2 hours of
whenever
my
we
life.
look at the timeline, we're like,
11.
a Cold Spark send off 9:45. We're like, yes.
Yes.
Last dance 9:45. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like I might be home by midnight.
Yeah.
Like,
Anything that it ends before 10 o'clock, you're like, what is this miracle? Like, you're like, oh my goodness. If you leave in the summertime and the sun is still up, you're like, this is incredible. And it's still 9 o'clock at night, but you're like, this is,
But even-
I have the whole evening. And you're like,
Even attending a wedding now, like going to I've been to probably 18 weddings now.
Like,
as a guest.
Yeah.
As a guest.
Really?
My whole trio, everybody's getting married now. I think there's 2 left now. We've really dipped down. I went to 12 weddings in a year. Oh my gosh. It was a lot.
on top
Yeah.
of DJing.
And- on top of DJing, and I want to say about half of those were I was traveling to Ohio or traveling. I was
You
all
were in
over the
New
place.
York, New Jersey.
New Jersey,
You were
New York.
everywhere.
I got friends all over the place. But even going past like 11, honestly, is like very hard.
Yeah.
The only places that it is like New York, New Jersey.
as like a guest, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's
as a
very-
guest.
yeah.
New York, New Jersey, I would say I would give a pass because 9 times out of 10 they do the ceremony like 6. It's beautiful. You show up at 6:30 to 7:30.
Yep.
We go eat dinner and then we start dancing at like 9. It's
Yeah.
like versus here sometimes they start as early as 2 o'clock, 3
Yeah.
o'clock. It's like
One start at
people can
12.
handle about 6 hours. Once you start taxing them on 6 hours,
Yep.
unless they're from different areas of the world where that's a common thing and they know how to
Yes.
do that, Americans cannot.
Yeah, no. And again, it's also because of the wedding traditions that we have in America, right? That kind of not dull the party a little bit, but it's just like it's just our traditions and what we do, and it's a lot of the times the guests are just sitting and observing. They're not really a part of, those traditions that the bride and groom are going through. So like a first dance is incredible and amazing, but like all your guests are just sitting there, they're not doing anything in that process. So it's a lot to ask, especially when you want to do like the open mic thing where like you pass around the mics and and the guests are like, I just want the cake to be cut.
What's the open mic thing?
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Really? So
What's
it's sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes the client will say, we want the guests.
Oh, the toast round is open mic. Okay,
yes.
yes. Okay,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
That can last forever.
And it can go forever. And you're like, someone needs to, I don't know who needs to cut it off. I will do it, but someone does need to cut it off after this person.
There's certain things I stand pretty hard on in meetings, and like if they ever bring that up, they're like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
Just no.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's a bad idea.
Bad idea.
Yeah, I'm like, and they're like, well, no, we don't think anyone's going. I'm like, don't even offer it then. I was like, because if you don't think anyone's going to do it, then don't do it, because Uncle Charlie will, okay? And he's already had, he's 6 beers deep, and he is ready to air out all the family grievances, and I was like, you just don't want that unpredictability for the most special day.
Either that, or you need to have a timer. Like I've wanted to do, no one's brought it up in a while, but if I ever have that happen again, I want to bring up, I can't remember what awards show or whatever just happened where Luda had the Luda sound. And after 2 minutes, Luda, Luda, and it actually happened to him when he was on stage too.
Yeah, no.
But I would pitch something like that. Like
So that would actually
at
be
2
fun,
minutes,
though,
at 2 minutes, I'm hitting an air horn.
Yes, that would actually be fun. You should do the Luda thing, but yeah, like that would actually be a fun thing though, where it's like, how fast can you say you know what I mean?
See, I would do it with the Luda, make a video or reel, and then I get a cease and desist from Luda
Right.
for using his name.
That is what I'm here for, just in case. I'm preemptively telling you, don't do that. But yes, no, that is one of my only like reception no's that I'm like, please don't do that. Like I will do anything the client wants to do, but if they're like, what do you? And I'm like, no, that's all right.
It's not the best idea you've had today.
Skip that.
So this is a great transition into one of the segments. I got 2 different ones. I got a flash round and then hot takes.
Okay.
So this is just quick answers. There's like 10 questions, just quick answers for photographer, basically flash round. So first look or aisle reveal?
First look.
Golden hour portraits or night portraits?
Golden hour.
Indoor or outdoor ceremony?
Outdoor probably.
Film or digital?
Digital every time.
Black or white? Or black or white or color?
I actually love black and white. I know color is the thing, and that's what everyone wants, but a black and white moment,
Big wedding or intimate wedding?
intimate.
Mountains or beach?
Beach.
Summer or fall? Weddings.
Oh, fall probably. Temperature.
Temperature.
Sparkler exit or private last dance?
Sparkler exit.
Detail shots or candid moments?
Oh, candid.
I love a good candid.
Bride getting ready photos or groom getting ready photos?
Bride getting ready photos, but only because I do groom very little. So I'm not involved in that.
And this is not photography, but drone footage, worth it or overrated?
I definitely think it's worth it. I see some of the coolest drone footages, like and even pictures, not even just footage. Like I see like just pictures that I'm like, I obviously could never capture that. And I totally understand why people have drones. But no, I absolutely think it's worth it. Just as like if you have the budget for it, absolutely.
Personally, I think if you're going to hire a videographer in general, they better have drones.
Yeah.
Because that video that starts with the
venue?
venue drone footage or just
Yes.
above the ceremony site is just like, whoa, this is a
100%.
movie. I'm
Yep.
locked in.
Yeah, cinematic. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's no, drones are. I've flown several drones and I play around with them a little bit. I do not offer them as part of my services at all because I've seen many a drones crash in trees and water and all kinds of fun stuff. And my
crashed a
budget
few.
just doesn't. Yeah, and my budget just doesn't allow that. But no, I think drone footage is one of those luxury items that like if they offer it, it absolutely is worth it for sure.
With the drones, don't you have to have a license?
Yes, you have to have FAA clearance.
Yep.
Now there are some smaller drones that you don't have to necessarily
Yes.
now that like you can operate with your phone.
But
They,
those
like,
don't have like the high-end
no,
camera.
Well,
like,
no, they have,
or
A lot of them do. A lot of
1080.
the features that are lacking with like drones like that are the ones that are like they don't have like zoom or they don't have like other capabilities
Yeah.
like that. Honestly, the most even like some of the cheapest drones like still can put out some really high quality stuff. It just has extra features that like, you know, you probably want if you are droning the ceremony and you don't want a hive of bees right above you, you know, that you know, you want it more 50 feet in the air. So.
But at least if it's still the same, getting a license is like the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
It's literally go on their website, log it, like put in your info.
Yeah.
It's basically just registering that I own this drone. So if this drone ends
Crashes.
up on an airport site or whatever, you're responsible.
Yeah, and they have like restrictions with
Yeah.
where you can go with the drone. So
Yeah.
I was at a venue one time where the videographer was like, it was like half the venue for whatever reason was just like a no-fly zone, and so he had to like only keep it on this one side over here. So, but they know all that stuff.
And
It,
the
like,
drone
tells
app
you.
like doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it blocks
It tells
you.
you.
It
Like,
blocks
you
your
wouldn't
ceiling.
be able to do it even if you wanted to.
So it'll
Yes.
like cut the
Like even
that's
height
cool.
wise, like if the limit most areas is 500 feet, as soon as you get to 500 feet, the drone will not go any higher.
Yes, like it'll just stop.
It'll just stop.
So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool stuff. Again, I have too much other stuff to worry about on the wedding day. If a drone person wants to come with me and just do drone stuff, that'd be fun. But
From a photographer standpoint, are you what are your thoughts on trends? Like wedding trends?
so
Ooh,
it's
that gets
funny.
into hot takes.
So it's funny because there is a very big, there's a large discussion around specifically photographers actually, where are we doing weddings for content, right? Like, do we actually care about our clients? Do we actually care what they want, you know? Like, are we just like doing the most outrageous, coolest photo ever just because that's the trend right now? And so there is a large discussion with that where it's like we're kind of getting away from what the clients want, and we are getting too much into like, let me start this trend. So of course, blurry trend is the most controversial one, I think, and has been for several years, where back in the day, especially when I first started, a blurry photo was out. That was not a photo you included ever. And then now it's like, I want the blurry photo. And we're like, oh, okay, that's a change.
It's new.
And so we're trying to, you know, accommodate them. And some people are great at it and some people love it. Me personally, not my favorite trend. Like I love a blurry moment, I guess, but I don't love 15 of them, you know, and I think some clients like are really pushing that idea. That being said, these are your wedding photos. So we all are going to look back on, I don't know if you guys remember the dinosaur trend, the T-Rex trend. Do you remember that?
Like when they would bring the inflatable thing?
No, that was a trend
I was
for a
going to
while.
say, that's the one I know. But
So back when I first started, there was a trend that you have the wedding party running away and then you Photoshop a T-Rex in the background.
Okay.
oh, I've seen those pictures before. Yes.
You
So,
Photoshop.
so that was a large trend for a very long time. Not a very long time, but like a year where people were like, can you do the T-Rex thing? Can you do the T-Rex thing? And we all look back on that now. We're like, that was a terrible trend, you know, that was a terrible idea. But that's what they wanted at the time. So like, who are we to be like, oh, okay, you're going to look back on that and be like, that's a terrible idea, you know, because this is, at the end of the day, these are your wedding photos, you know. Do we try to guide them a little bit? Absolutely. I tell people what my strengths are. I'm like, hey, I'm really good with this. I'm really good with this. I'm not so great at this, you know, and that is the trend right now. So if you want that, find a trendier photographer because I'm just not as.
I feel like those photographers that try to do that or work on that, they get stuck labeled as that too.
Right. Yeah.
Like I've seen reels of like photographers going over the top for like setting up this shot
Like
or
giant
like throwing
fantasy
sparks
shots.
or
Yes.
the smoke and making all these
Yes.
crazy things go happen, and it's like, okay, but now every client's going to want that.
Yes.
So your one-off thing is going to be turned to every client.
Yes. And also, it's not just, I don't think that clients quite understand the effort that trends take, in that like we have a regular wedding day that's already stressful and already a lot, and there's lists and there's other things, and then most of the trends, especially right now, are very creative trends, but we don't have a ton of time to be creative on the wedding day. Like 10 hours sounds like a lot for a photographer, but it really, in the grand scheme, is such little time for us to actually have a moment to think and be like, okay, how do I make this different? Like, how do I incorporate this? So, so I think it's also just like, it's taxing on the photographer as well to have to think like, okay, the next one I'm going to do is this. And a lot of the trends are camera settings. Like you have to change your camera settings to
and then
accommodate.
yeah.
And so you're taking, you know, 10 seconds to change your camera, not that big of a deal unless you're doing it 20 times, you know, and then that's minutes that's gone on a wedding day where you only have 30 minutes with the clients anyway. So yeah, I'm not against trends at all. I'm always embracing the new trends. I'm always a little bit resistant in the beginning because it's like, you're gonna not love that, but what do I know? You know, again, this is your wedding day. I'm all about making sure that clients know that I'm there for them and I want to, you know, do whatever, but I also want them to know that, like, these are the things I'm really, really good at, and these are the things that we will try and see how it works, because we're just not really sure how it's going to turn out.
I'm glad we don't have to worry about trends in our industry yet. I think the hardest, or the only trends are like the effects and stuff, which we can charge for, so it's great.
Yeah.
But it's,
The games that they ask you to do, though, like the different stuff, is that?
Yeah, but like the game, at least overall right now, games are kind of out.
I feel like a lot of
point.
traditions are kind of out.
Yeah.
In general, and it's been great. But I remember, now you say that, back in the day, it was like everybody wanted to do the shoe game every single time. And I don't know how, there was a couple different times where, like, doing back-to-back weddings, and I show up and I look on the time and I said, shoe game. I'm like, go to shoe game question list.
Yes. Yes.
All right, let me refresh myself real quick before I go do this game.
Yeah.
You know, anniversary dance is kind of coming back a little bit in a reverse. If you've seen the reverse way to build the dance floor. I'm actually a big fan of, I only had a couple weddings do it, but shoe game hosted by the best man, best man and the maid of honor. And it's absolutely a shit show, and it's hilarious.
Yeah. I think a little micro trend right now is for the photographer to give their camera to the best man. And like kind of, you know, have him take all the photos, because everyone's immediately more comfortable. And so yes, the best man comes in clutch in those very specific situations where you're like, hey,
the sunglass one.
The sunglass one.
That's a cool one. I've seen that.
Yep, I've done that trend several times. That one's a very fun one to do. And again, like, I can get other people in on that one with me, where I'm like, hey, grab everybody, you know, and they're like, everybody come up, you know, and they're just having fun with it. So those trends I'm totally okay with. Anything that gets a genuine reaction or a genuine moment, or a memory, you know, that's just like, hey, that was so fun. That was a good one. I actually did a wedding this past weekend where I've seen it at one other wedding, but I mostly saw it on YouTube, where you play musical chairs, but you have to go get an item from the audience. Have you seen that one?
Yes.
Oh, I have seen it.
Yeah. And so they did that one. And apparently, according to another vendor I was working there, apparently that is a fairly popular European trend, where they are doing that all the time for years. So it's like not a new thing for them. So like a Ukrainian wedding, like they do stuff like that, and you know, so she was telling me, she was like, we do that at every wedding, and I was like, that's really interesting. But I'd only seen that in the last few years, you know, so, but it was fun, and like everyone was interacting, and obviously it's a little bit chaotic because like no one really knows what to do, and this isn't the super popular trends, right? And so everyone's like, we're playing musical chair, what are we doing, you know, and don't understand it, and but then once you get it, everyone's laughing and yelling and joking, so it's a fun time. Trends are fun. They can be really fun. They can be really stressful, but they can be really fun.
Yeah, I think the only other one right now is the going to every table and taking a
the
photo.
Table dash. Yeah.
Either
Table dash.
Which way would you rather do it? People come to the couple, or the couple goes to the tables?
I do prefer couple going to the table, mostly because of grandparents.
Yes.
It's just so much harder.
Faster.
Yes, to have them get through the line. I did do one like 2 or 3 years ago where they had everyone come to the couple, and that one was fun because they didn't stay by tables. They just went with their friend groups. So like they just found their friends in the line, and they just did like fun ones with like sitting on the groom's lap and you know different things with the bride. So it was a lot more it was a lot, like, people weren't so worried about like, okay, we have to stay in our groups, and it was just like everyone's getting a picture with the bride and groom. Utilize that information however you want, you know, but for the most part, I think Table Dash one is more efficient, just because you're not waiting for people to hobble up there, but then also you are kind of getting, I actually, for the Table Dash, sometimes I take the mic, and I'm like, hey guys, get on your feet. Like, this is supposed to be a fun thing. This is not supposed to be like, oh, we're just sitting here, and this is supposed to be an interactive, this is supposed to be fun. Everyone get on your feet. Think of a pose now. Are you going to lift the groom up in the air? Lift the groom up in the air. Are you going to do...
Go steal props from the photo booth.
Yes.
From the photo booth.
Please take them back.
Everyone wants a drink from the bar. You're going to do a cheers. Do that. Like, go ahead and plan out your pose now, because this is supposed to be fun. This is not supposed to be something that's like, oh, we all have to get a photo with the bride and groom, which is fine. Like, those ones are fine too. But like, this is a game. We're trying to do this in a song, and I'm very competitive. So if this matters to no one, it matters to me. So.
Do a lot of couples request for like golden hour or sunset photos before like the dance? Because I was going to say, I've seen it a lot more recently than what I used to on our timelines and stuff. And I was like, that seems to be a trend that's coming back.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something that we have to kind of build into the schedule. And of course,
I was about to say, it's like the one
year.
It's the one thing. It's always the one photographer item that's always on my timeline is the sunset photos.
Yes. Yeah. I don't do them every time. I definitely have, I talk to some clients and they're just like, I just don't want to, once reception starts, I want to party. I don't want to leave. I don't want to do anything.
We love that.
I mean, you honestly, unfortunately, and that's kind of why I rolled my eyes when you did the round, because unfortunately, yes, golden hour is just exceptional. Like it really is just like the best light of the day. It is every photographer's ideal light. It's funny you mentioned night shots because I actually do a ton. I used to do a ton more. People again don't like leaving during the reception as much, but I used to do night shots all the time where I was like, I love being able to see the stars in the photos and like kind of it's just different. Again, that's kind of more of a trend that's gone away a little bit more. But
I think some of my favorite photos from our wedding are actually we did it at the Cadillac garage. So we had the Cadillac out front. Some of my favorite photos are in that. I barely remember them because I was drunk. But some of my favorite photos are us in that car, the night shots around the car.
Yeah.
Those are really cool.
Yep. Nope. I like a night shot. I think I personally prefer a night shot just because they're fun. And again, creativity wise, you can do a lot more than you can with a sunset photo. But I mean, you just can't beat a sunset. Like it's just, it looks so good. So.
All right. So let's do hot takes then.
Yeah.
So I guess you can elaborate a little bit on these answers.
But
thank goodness.
I have so much pressure.
But you do have to decide on one thing for each one.
Okay.
So first one, it's a hard one. What's the biggest waste of money at a wedding?
Ooh.
It's a
I
hard
don't
one.
want any vendors to come after me for this specifically.
It's a personal opinion.
So it really, the biggest waste of money in the overall for me, I tell people anytime a wedding photographs really well, I tell people it's because they spent money on the right things. Because what are we photographing at the wedding? We are photographing the clients. So we want you dressed the best you've ever been dressed. Like people that are like, they kind of skimp on the dress and, you know, they're like, oh, we found it at a discount. That's great if it looks great on you. However, like that is where you really do want to put your money in. You want to have the groom have a really nice tux, a really nice suit. You want the bride to have her dream dress. You want the hair and makeup to be pristine. Like you want all of those things. So the things that I think are a waste of money are things that I don't photograph. Is the things that I'm like, yeah, you can do whatever. Specifically, so everyone loves food, guys. Everyone loves food. There are some caterers that are absolutely incredibly amazing and the food is always top tier. However, could we, cater Chipotle at the wedding and probably get almost just as good as food? I think just the pricing of catering is fairly high for what we receive. At least as vendors, maybe I'm not eating the bride and groom's food, so like their food might be the best of the best. But I think that sometimes some of the best tasting weddings I've been to are ones that were not catered. They were just like, they got Chipotle or they got Chick-fil-A or they got something that it's catering, but it's not like an actual catering company. So do I think food is a waste of time? No. Do I think sometimes the food that we receive is maybe not the best quality for the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that they spent?
So sometimes you got caterers that they're on the same caliber of food, but this one goes a little above and beyond presentation wise, or
warmth of the food is
warmth
kind
of
the
the
main one.
food. It depends. or maybe we're just talking buffet versus sit down.
Right. Yeah.
And there's a significant cost difference
there
in
is,
sit down
absolutely.
versus buffet.
Yeah.
And it comes down to what you want.
Yeah.
But
No,
that's
for
basically
sure.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Buffet versus sit down. Save the money.
Yep.
And sit down, it does eat into time. And
Yes, it
as
does.
we
Buffet
just
is so
had our
much faster.
wedding
Yeah,
in January.
and you know
tons.
what? Buffets where the caterers are serving the food is so much faster than self-serve.
It depends.
Really?
There are some sit-down people that can serve just as fast, if not
Yes,
faster.
yes.
But now we're in a whole nother bracket.
yes, for sure. And again, I mean, there are definitely caterers that I absolutely love, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy they're here, and it's so amazing. And then you have some, and you're like, you spent what on this? that's insane. That's more than the venue, because you're feeding a lot of people and
it's
whatever.
9 times out of 10 it is more than the venue.
I was gonna say, a lot of time
again,
it is.
it's not, we all want to be fed at weddings. Like, that's not the case. It's just sometimes the quality of it. Sometimes it's the tier that they pick, the couple picks. So
Yes.
like sometimes they pick a tier that you're like, that was definitely the lowest for sure, because that was, they did no effort. They did nothing. They just gave you some food that was somewhat edible, and that's it. So yeah, I mean, again, I think it's, everything is, we all know, like wedding to wedding, it's so different. So
My personal biggest waste of money is either over the top florals or over the top cakes.
yes, florals.
I would do a
violently
cookie table all
I
day
so
long.
violently disagree.
So only because, again, florals are a huge part of mine. So like I think florals are just amazing. They are incredible.
Yes.
Now, do I actually prefer candles over florals? I do. So I prefer candles and greenery, but that's a personal
Same. I like-
preference.
That's
that is
what
not.
we- yeah.
That's not necessarily
Mine's
something that's like.
mine's the giant florals that block the sight lines of everything in the room,
Yeah.
and people are like
But they
stuck.
photograph so well.
They do. They do, but I've been at many of those weddings where they spend $60,000 on florals, and I'm like,
anytime I see the name floral designer instead of just florist, I'm like, ooh, this is about to be good.
That'd be
This
good.
is about to be a good wedding.
All right. So flipping it, most underrated wedding investment.
I think videographer. So I think it's only not underrated the people that actually choose videographer. I think it's the people that don't think they want a videographer. So for me, me and videographer, we have the same but very different jobs.
Yes.
So I think, are you going to hang the pictures up in your house? Are they going to be, a memory forever? Absolutely. I tell people all the time that I am not capturing voices. So I am not capturing your grandfather whose wife just passed away doing a speech at the wedding and, talking about that moment. I am capturing the moment, but I'm not actually talking about it. And so some of those, when those people are gone, they're gone,
Yeah.
and kind of just having that actual moment to relive and to watch a video of your loved one or of you and your husband or whoever, I think is something that you just cannot ever replicate. And sure, iPhone footage, camera footage, some people do GoPro stuff, which is, similar, but having someone dedicated to capturing those key moments, and people always say like ceremony, they're like, oh, the ceremony, and I'm like, honestly, I don't really know that many people that will rewatch their ceremony, but they absolutely would rewatch a video of someone giving a speech that is no longer here. So I know just from experience that is something that I would have loved. It is just like kind of having that actual memory of that. That's why have you seen those apps that reanimate the photos and the person's like moving in the photo?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Have you seen that?
It's like a feature on iPhone now
Yes,
too. They'll let you make
so,
some
like,
padded
Interesting.
views.
And so they can take a really old photo from like the 30s or whatever.
Sounds like some Harry Potter
Yes,
stuff.
very much. But then they have like movement and they smile and
Yeah.
stuff, and people are like, "Oh my goodness!" Like I haven't seen my dad smile in however long since he died, and so
That's cool.
so again, I think people that are set on videographers, great. Do I have personal vendettas against videographers sometimes? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think that the people that are like, "Oh, is it worth it?" And I'm like, you can never get that moment back. Like that moment of the sound of their voice. I remember, this is totally off, but I had I have panic attacks riding planes because of my daughter, who I adore and love. And the only thing that calmed me down was watching a video of her just like doing some dancing thing. And she's like talking and singing and doing stuff. And like it was her voice that like, it was just like, okay, we're good, we're fine. And she's perfectly alive, but it was a moment that's like, oh my gosh, reliving this moment, like that was something that was important for me, and again, I don't think people, what's the saying that Andy does in The Office, where it was like, you don't know you're in the good times until it's over.
gone.
Yeah.
Like you don't know how good your wedding day is until it's past, and,
Yeah.
and then that's all you have, and you do have the photos, and I'm not downplaying my job is very high up there, but I just can't capture what the people sound like, so.
I kind of wish more wedding videographers could start doing more, not like vlog, but like TV show. Like there's one guy
There's
super
one guy,
popular.
Justin Portal
Like
Media.
I would just
Yeah.
love for a videographer just set up a chair like right here with a mic and just pull people in,
Yes.
interview them, and then overlay that into the day because that stuff is just so raw and so
Yes.
good. And man.
No, again, I know exactly what videos you're talking about, and I
Yeah.
agree. It is actually kind of filmed like The Office a little bit, where like
Reality
you have,
show.
Like, these,
Yeah.
Film
you have
like-
like these cutaways and these things, and like people are talking, and they. I saw one. I might have been the same guy where he like actually set up like a mic at
Yeah.
the wedding, and
Yeah.
like you go up to the mic and you're like da 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 da, and then you walk away. And,
That's a video booth thing they started. There's
Yes.
certain offerings now where
Yes.
it's just a video and people come up and do interviews
yes,
and
do
just that.
almost like a literal reality show
Yeah.
where you sit in the booth and you're like.
We tried to do one of
I
those at
just-
a prom, and it did not work. Kids are like,
I just really, the only gripe I have with videographers is the ones that do the same video every time.
And there's a lot of those.
It's an instrumental ceremony, overlaying some vows,
Yes.
and then we cut through the emotional gets better,
Yeah.
and then we get through, and there's not as much audio, and it's
Yeah.
not. It's like a template,
Yes.
and I
Yeah.
understand why they do it. You can pump
Because
out a
you
lot,
pump it
and
out
it's
easier.
cost
And
money,
you
how
can
much you
also have an
charge.
editor do it without
Yes,
having
but-
to do any of this stuff. Yes.
The guys that are doing just like making it more like either a vlog style and
Yes.
they're giving out GoPros and stuff and then actually making a true like one of a
Yes.
kind piece are just worth their weight in gold.
Yeah.
Crushing it.
No, absolutely. And again, I do have qualms about videographers as
Yeah.
well. That I'm like, oh no, they're not
Excuse
worth it
me,
in this
my
way.
shot.
excuse me.
Many times. And so, and I do obviously try to work with them and stuff, but that is the one thing that people are like, is it worth it? And I'm like, is it worth it for that specific kind of moment? Absolutely. Like you said, for the kind of standard, overlays that they do, maybe not so much. But I think that's also because that's what we see all the time. Like we see the same thing over and over, but someone's going to see their own wedding on there and be like, this is my wedding. And it's like, that's great for you. It's the same wedding as the last one, so.
All right. What instantly makes a wedding look expensive?
She's gonna say florals.
I am gonna say yeah. No, I mean, I think it's also because we all know how much florals cost. Like,
Yes.
so like anytime I potentially am talking to a client and they're like, do you offer hangings for a discount? And then I show up at the wedding and we have these massive, I'm like, what? Were you trying to play for them? Is that what it was? Like, what do you mean? Florals are just, they're already so expensive. So if you see a ton of florals, you know that their budget is astronomical.
But real,
Yeah.
any real flowers,
Yeah.
it's like, okay.
And
Especially
then also,
the real ones.
the venue as well. Like if you already know that venue is known for being a fairly popular, expensive venue, yes, you just know even before you show up that like they had a healthy budget for this. So yeah, the flowers for sure. A couple other things like like again wedding attire, like what they're actually wearing and stuff. I've had some brides that have worn the most expensive dresses. I had one bride, Khadijah, shout out. She had a dress that was like similar to a dress that Beyonce wore, that she had like custom made, custom fitted, and I mean it was a stunning dress. Like I was like, oh my gosh, it's incredible. But like she was like, it's like, oh yeah, that was an expensive dress, like that was an expensive dress. So, but florals for sure, hands down. Sometimes you see the cake and you're like, oh, you spent a lot of money on that cake.
I think one of the simplest things, and this kind of goes with attire, you were talking about like the bride and groom, dress code. I am such a proponent of black tie or just high-end dress. Like instantly, when everyone shows up, they all feel like I'm at such a fancy thing.
It could be in a barn, and I feel like it
no
elevates
offense
it.
to the casual weddings, but I feel like just trend-wise now, like savoring the moment and like put on that nice. It doesn't have. It could be black tie and you show up in a blazer. Honestly, it doesn't. But just when everyone takes that theme and like goes with it, versus the weddings I go to where it's casual and there's people wearing jeans and a polo. I'm like, it just brings down. The overall, because normally they really did a great job with all of the tables, the linens, the decor, and then it just drags a little in the photos and everything.
Like, oh, kind of throw off the aesthetic a little bit. Yes, yeah. What do you think? Counter question. What do you think of vendors' attire then?
Vendors, it depends on your job and your position. All black, period.
Yeah.
That's the only. That's my only preference. All black. I'm really a big proponent of not having very big logos or flashing. Like sometimes caterers, they have this big bright shirt on and everything. I'm like, it depends on the caterer. It depends on the caterer, but if you just wore a black shirt, black pants, you're fine. And it depends on where you're at in the center of attention. A DJ, we got to be dressed to the same dress code as everybody else
Right.
because
Yeah.
we are a figurehead in the whole entire thing. Photographers, you're on your feet all day. As long as you're in all black, I don't really care for a t-shirt unless we're talking an all outdoor wedding.
Right.
Even us, like my assistants, will wear black polos if it's an outdoor wedding.
Yeah.
Indoor, button up.
Yeah.
Like something a little nicer.
One thing we do is we ask the couples, like, what's your color theme? And then, like, the headliner will try to match the color theme. But it really just depends. And
But
black is just a safe bet.
Yeah.
It really depends. I think it really matters what the dress attire of the wedding is and the conditions we are being put
Yes.
into.
Yes.
And as long as you play that accordingly from your dress standpoint.
Yeah.
Because like the videographer teams I've seen are in black dress shorts and black shirts, but we're in an almost all outdoor event in the
Right.
middle of summer. Like,
Yes.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
could put a polo on, but you know. But
Yes. No, I think guys specifically, any of the guy vendors have a different kind of standard being set where it's like if you're not wearing a collar, like it looks a little crazy because like it's just that's what guys do when they're trying to dress up, you know. So whereas women have a little bit more flexibility where it comes to like, oh yeah, you can wear a dress or you can wear slacks or you can wear a shirt that's
You can wear a
cut
little
off,
tank
or,
top.
yes, like you can wear stuff that looks a little bit more fancy. Where guys, it's like if you're not wearing a collared shirt, everyone's like, are you at a wedding?
And that kind of, and that it also is kind of like when we're talking headliner, DJ, assistant. Main shooter that's going to be walking down the aisle and
Yes.
everything probably should look a little more presentable.
Yeah.
Secondary shooter on the outside, they can be, they could probably get away with a black shirt.
Yes. No, unfortunately they can because they do. So it, even at my request not to. No, it's, the dress thing is actually a very interesting conversation that I see in photography groups all the time.
It is.
Because some photographers want to dress like a guest, which I actually thought that for a little while. And then, pretty much what you said. We are, unfortunately, a large part of the center of attention during the ceremony, even when we're not trying to be. And so I think like for like maybe like 6 months or a year, I was like, yeah, dress like a guest, that makes sense. Because in the background of photos, if the photographer is there, they're a lot less noticeable if they're dressed like a guest. However, during like ceremony and stuff, just physically being there, we are more distracting if we're wearing like a bright blue dress or whatever. Now, some of my favorite photographers ever don't wear black. Like they don't dress like a guest, but they don't wear black. They wear more neutral colors or something, but they're dressed nicely. They look really good, and that's their company, that's their preference. I wear black just because it's a safe bet. I think when I started, I had the polo thing because I was like, this is what you're supposed to do. But now it's just like, yeah, we wear black unless they say something and they're like, oh, we want all the vendors to wear white because everyone else is wearing black.
We did have a wedding
think-
like that once that was like
It was
the
all
vendors
white.
wear white, and Marcellus was like, are you sure?
Yes.
Like, I was like,
Yes.
yeah, it says
Crazy.
wear white. Like,
No, so they sometimes give us stipulations, but for the most part, they're just like, just show
Yeah.
up and
well, a big one
be
I've heard
comfortable.
from like photographers in general was like, I'm behind the camera, so like, why do I have to dress?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, you probably have probably seen that really popular
Oh,
photographer
yeah.
that wears the shorts and the backwards hat.
Yeah.
So like he is the main proponent that he's like, hey, I should be able to wear whatever I want because I am behind the camera. However, I do think that's a personality thing because
I was about to say, he also gives you main character energy. So, like, he's a personality
Yes.
regardless.
Yes. And like that is part of what they're hiring for.
Yeah.
They're not just hiring for really good photos for him, but they're also hiring him because he is him. And so that's the same thing with me where it's like, I couldn't really get away with that. But some of my second shooters could get away with a backwards cap and shorts and, because that's just who their personality is, whereas I don't give off that same vibe of backward cap and shorts. So.
All right, so we roughly have about 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
So I got a couple more hot takes, and then we can do a little conclusion here. What do couples stress about that nobody notices?
Oh my goodness. So I think couples in the overall tend to stress about things that they have put a lot of effort and a lot of work into that the only people that are going to notice are them. So the way the table is set up, place settings, the way the napkins are folded, the fact that the sign is turned this way instead of that way, and just kind of details that should truly actually be like the wedding planner's, problem, but the clients make it their own problem.
Yeah.
I also think that brides specifically, and this is definitely not a hot take, I don't think. I think they stress a whole lot about things about their dress getting dirty.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's gonna get dirty. And if it doesn't, like, you didn't really have that good of a day.
I was gonna say my
like,
dress is brown on the bottom.
And people, they're like, oh, there's a little bit of whatever, and they will truly stress about it. And I'm like, you're gonna look back on this moment and be like, that was just not worth that.
The only thing you should worry about is like something in this
this
vicinity
area
early on in the day.
Yes. And like I tell people all the time, I'm like, we're not gonna see it. You're not gonna see it. You're not even gonna remember that this happened. Like, you know, like you're not gonna remember anything about this. So I think that's mostly a bride thing where they're like, this is a disaster. There's a spot on my dress, or there's this, and it's like it really is not. I mean, I know that's crazy. Yeah, and I say that too. I'm like, I'm gonna fix it, and then 9 times out of 10, I don't, because I don't even see it. But it's hard to convince someone who's under a lot of stress and a lot of pressure that like what you're feeling right now is not real. You know, so.
So last hot take: what's one thing you wish every couple did before their wedding day that would just make everything so much easier?
I think if a couple sat down with each other and said, we are going to get married, and things are not going to go perfectly, and things are not going to be the most exceptional all the time for the whole day. I think that reality check with each other, because that's your person, right? Like, my husband is my absolute best friend in the world. He is the one that grounds me when I'm like getting crazy, and he also is the one that hypes me up, you know, where like I'm like,
he might make you crazy.
I need you to be crazy with me. But I know, and I think that's also like a sign of a really good relationship and partner. I know that if a couple just sat down and was like, hey, this is gonna be a good day, we're gonna be married by the end of it. If something doesn't go perfectly, that is going to be okay. And 9 times out of 10, whatever not perfect moment that happened or did not happen, whatever it is, you're going to laugh about it. And it's going to be something that's so stupid and so funny. And, oh, so-and-so ripped his button on his shirt, or he put his arms up too high and he broke his boutonniere. Like, stuff like that is so minor compared to, it's not worth your joy, like, from the wedding day. Like, I really do. I wish more couples the night before or the weekend before or whatever sat down and was like, it's going to be a good day because we're going to make it a good day. Like, that's the mindset you have to go into it. You don't go into it saying, oh, everything's going to be a disaster and everything's going to be terrible. Because I actually tell clients 90% of the time, that's not the case. 90% of the time, the day is perfect. 90% of the time, it doesn't rain. 90% of the time, it is perfect weather. It is perfect people. Everyone dresses to the nines and all that stuff. But then the 10% of the time that something does go wrong, don't let that ruin your entire wedding day. Like, let it just be a moment and let it breathe, cry about it, whatever, and then just let it pass. Because this is, everyone says it, this is your only day that you get. Enjoy it. Have fun with it, you know, so.
That's like something I say a lot is like, don't let 5 minutes of your entire day ruin the rest of the 23 hours.
Yeah.
Like,
So as a DJ, this is one of the funniest things at my wedding, because I brought in another DJ. It could have easily, but I turned it into the most funny laughing moment ever. My DJ starts open dancing and everything. We're going, we're partying, I'm on the dance floor having a blast. And then he starts getting into some hip hop, and I'm like, where's the bass? And I walk over to our subs. My assistants never turned on any of the subs. It was all coming out the top speakers. I turned on the subs and the bass hit, and my DJ that I brought in from New Jersey, he literally goes, he's like, I'm like, they weren't on.
you got it.
Yeah.
But it just turned into like a laughing moment or whatnot that I could have been like, damn it, we had 30 minutes of dancing with no subwoofers and no bass, and it ruined everything. No, we were all having a blast. It was great. And
it was a good time
it actually surprisingly made me be like, how important is that subwoofer?
Do we need
I was a
bass?
big proponent of bass makes a big difference, and now I'm like
30 minutes into dancing.
And I think it comes down to the music, though. I noticed when he got to hip hop, he was playing, like more Dancing Queen for the older crowd.
Those
and
ones not as.
we weren't playing really clubby music yet, so.
No, that makes sense. And again, like, stuff like that happens on the wedding day all the time. There are so many things that clients don't know that happen. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So much that happens. And I'm like, no one's going to say anything about that.
There's so much stuff the vendor group keeps under wraps.
Yes,
like we got this.
Yes, and then like I walk in the room, they're like, what's going on? I'm like, nothing at all.
Nothing. Uncle Tim's fine.
Yes.
Don't worry about it.
I tell my second shooters, I tell the other vendors, I tell everybody, I say, until the point they absolutely need to know. They don't need to know.
Yeah.
Because there are times that like we just have to say something. We just have to be like, hey, so just so you know. But for the most part,
sometimes we're covering for each other too.
Oh
Like,
yeah. No,
100%.
Yes.
this vendor's running late, and we're like, yeah, we're fine.
Yes.
Enjoy yourself at cocktail.
Yeah.
Have a
because
great
again,
cocktail.
we are a team. Like,
Yeah.
even though we are very separate jobs, like the vendor team is very much a team. And there are some weddings that we feel more like a team than others because we're like, it's literally us against them. But for the most part, like, we are the team trying to make this wedding work, you know? And as, like, I always tell people, like, I go up to the DJ every time. And I'm like, hey, I'm Sarah. If you need anything from me, or if you're looking for me or whatever, like, don't hesitate to come and get me. Don't hesitate to ask me questions. Like, I don't want this to feel like I'm untouchable, because I know that some photographers can feel that way, where like they're not approachable and you can't really talk to them. And I'm like, I don't want it to feel that way, because if you need me, I want you to be able to come to me and say something. And or if I'm doing something that I'm not supposed to be doing, or I change something or whatever. It wasn't a DJ, it was a band, but it was really funny because I'm very much like the coordinator where I go up. And so I said, hey, we're going to change this. And he says, who are you? The photographer. I was like, okay, did you get permission from the bride? Sure did. So we're going to change this now. And he's like, okay, I'm going to talk to the planner. And I'm like, no, like, this is what, like, do you think I'm trying to sabotage that? Like, you know, like, and I'm sure that maybe he's had an experience where it was not so great or whatever, but I'm sitting here like, guys, like, we're on the same team. I'm trying to make this work for you. You know, you don't want the bride coming up here right now and saying what I'm saying, because then that means that she, like, everyone else isn't doing their job. Like, she shouldn't be doing stuff like that. So
the correct response there is to have a negotiation to some degree. If I have a certain, like, say golden hour photos, right? Hey, I'm going to go take the couple for golden hour. I was just about to move on to this. Let's talk through this. How can I, because the guests are getting a little antsy. What can we do? Can we just do the quick father, daughter, mother, son? I opened it, dance floor, and then you take them in 15 minutes. And then we work it out.
And again, stuff like that, that's why we talk in the beginning.
That's why we're a team.
Like, that's why we are working together, because that stuff like that is really important.
And the plan we had from the get-go already went out the window.
Yeah. And we're already, literally, like, us and the DJ, photographer and DJ specifically, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I feel this way all the time. We are the main team at the reception. Because
we have the requirements.
Yes.
We are satisfied. We have quotas to recruit.
And so we are the ones that are like, hey, we need to be on the same page, because we have stuff that we need to do. So
we have quotas that we have to hit in a timing manner versus the caterer is just waiting on the food. They have to keep it warm, and they have to be on time. That's about it. And then the coordinator is just the facilitator that helps bleed everybody or bring everybody together.
And
they're the coach.
Tables and does all that. They very much are the coach, where we're like, no, we are actually working together.
Yeah, we're the offensive defensive coordinator, and that's the head coach.
And that's the head coach.
And then we got the wideouts and the everybody else is just following the leads.
On the bench, but
there's a few on the bench. Oh
my god, that's a great way. Cool. So that's a great way to kind of close it out. If anybody wanted to find you or inquiry, what's the socials? What's the website? What's the phone number? Where should people go?
Yes. So, as Hannah said in the beginning, my name is Sarah Sekaly Photography. It is Sekaly, by the way, people. Everyone pronounces it wrong. It's okay. So my website is just my name. It's www.sarahsekalyphotography.com, or you can find me on Instagram. I'm like one of the only ones in existence, so if you know how to spell my name, you will likely be able to find me.
How do you spell it
on the screen? We'll pop it up on the screen.
Sekaly. But yeah, no, I'm all over social media. I tell people it's very easy to stalk me if that's what you choose to do, because I'm all over the internet. So yeah, you can find me on different websites, my main website, and then my phone number, and Instagram and Facebook and all that fun stuff. So I'm all over the place.
Awesome. Well, I've enjoyed this conversation. I learned a lot about photography I didn't know.
I did.
You are currently our first photographer to sit down with us. So
I love that. Yes.
And now I know what culling is.
Next photographer. So what's your culling
process?
And they're gonna be like, we don't do that. And I'm like, oh no! They're like, we take the exact amount of photos that we need to take. And it's like, yep, that wasn't Sarah.
They're gonna hit us with the, you mean deleting photos? Right. Why? Whoops.
Yes. No, that's also a hot topic in the photography community as well. So
awesome. Well, we enjoyed having you. And for you guys watching the FSL vendor podcast, FSL podcast, we're calling it both names. It's early on. Follow us. I don't remember what all of our things, but at Fusion Sound Lighting on Instagram, or Fusion Sound Lighting on YouTube, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Yeah, I was going to say it's Fusion Sound and Lighting across the board on everything, even on Pinterest.
Cool.
So
see you guys.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.